Thank you and welcome everybody. It's great to see so many of you for this announcement, and it's brilliant that we're finally connected virtually. I just want to thank everybody for joining us today for the big reveal of the 4 winners of the Creative Cities Challenge, the first challenge by Global Innovative Collaboration. And it's been a journey, shall we say, through full of brilliant ideas focusing on helping the recovery of our beloved culture and creative industries. So firstly, big congratulations to all the 15 finalists for making it to this stage. You are all winners. The ideas have been fantastic, and I'm sure your projects and pilots are going to go from strength to strength as a result of the collaboration. And we know that many of you have already benefited from the expert advice of our challenge partners and colleagues across the cities. Now, it's been a great pleasure to be the chair of the judging panel and be able to join forces across seas and oceans with the judges since September. And I really look forward to being reconnected with you all again soon. Now, I want to take a moment just to extend a huge thank you to everybody involved in this challenge, from its inception right through to the scoring, the deliberation by the judges, which was not easy, and the expert help from challenge partners through the co-creation process over the past few months. So a big thank you to Bloomberg Associates for their brilliant facilitation, and to Nitrous for their role as project manager across the 4 cities over the past 6 months. Big thanks also goes to Microsoft and the UCL Bartlett faculty of the Built Environment, plus our challenge partners, of course, London and Partners, Future City, and Arts Council England and the City of London. So I'm going to hand over now to Stefan, our Berlin partner, to take us back 6 months and remind us where this challenge actually began. Over to you, Stefan.
Yeah, thank you, Amy. Hello from Berlin. It's really my great pleasure to welcome you all to our winner showcase. The Global Innovation Collaborative started for us in Berlin with a call by Bloomberg Associates about 11 months ago. I immediately accepted to be part of this cross-city collaboration between London, New York, Paris, and Berlin, as it holds so much potential also beyond the creative sector. In June this year, we announced our first joint initiative, the Creative City Challenge. Our objective was to speed economic recovery in the cultural and creative sectors in times of an unprecedented global pandemic. We called on innovators in various industries for long-term, sustainable and equitable solutions that will support these critical sectors rebound. We are very fortunate to have the support of valuable partners. We heard some of them. I want to mention Bloomberg Associates, Nitrous, and Microsoft. And on behalf of all our 4 cities, I would like to warmly thank all our partners for the great work and support. We wouldn't have been able to do this without you. Thank you very much. I'm in touch with Bloomberg Associates since many years. Todd, I very appreciate you bringing Berlin to the table. And I'm especially proud to have Microsoft's team in Berlin on board. They are an important partner of our city ecosystem. We are looking forward to many more occasions to cooperate. Through this Open Innovation Challenge, we got to know many passionate people with great ideas. About 2/3 of all applicants are small and medium enterprises, followed by individuals, corporates, and NGOs. The majority target multiple subsectors of the culture and creative industries with clubs, festivals, art, museums, theaters, and music. Looking at the solutions that have been handed in, platforms, apps, VR technology were most common. We were particularly pleased to see that the finalists from Berlin stand up for these issues that really concern our city, namely climate protection and the preservation of Berlin's rich event and club scene. In all cities, a top-class jury was assembled who intensively discussed the application in September to select the finalists. Just last week from now, we got together for the second time to select the winners. And as Amy mentioned, it was not really easy to select the winners. In our final decision, we are also considered how much progress the applications have made during the 2-month co-creation phase of the challenge. The co-creation took the challenge to a new level. All cities and partners met up with the finalists, supported them with expertise and network opportunities. Thanks to everybody for contributing to the advancement of our finalist solution. From my perspective, this international competition has several positive effects. It drives innovation and it creates new ideas for our common future. It helps those ideas jump across borders and us to overcome joint challenges. It connects innovators by the city ecosystem and with each other. It helps to expand and strengthen networks between cities and countries, and it sets a signal worldwide with innovations that can be adapted in other cities as well. But before I hand over to Amy and my colleagues to announce the winners, I would like to thank Team London, Team New York, and Team Paris for the great cooperation that brought us so far. Let's take this momentum and continue working together on the topics that drives our cities and its population. And I'm here in Berlin with our city animal. This is a symbol of strength, and every winner will take one. And now I can't wait to hear about the winners of the Creative City Challenge 2021.
Well, thank you so much, Stefan. Oh no, I don't know. Now all the other cities are going to have to get a nice little sort of cuddly toy or a little something to give everyone. We're very inspired by Berlin, and thanks for all of your kind words. Right, so this is the moment we've all been waiting for. Today, on behalf of Global Innovation Collaborative, I am delighted to announce the 4 winners of its Creative Cities Challenge. As you know, a 6-month-long competition that challenged innovators to create and test bold, inventive ideas to speed economic recovery of the cultural and creative sectors from the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, innovators' applications were evaluated and judged based on the idea's vision, potential for impact, implementation plan, and the likelihood of being adopted by other global cities. We are sharing and caring here. Now, all finalists also addressed environmental sustainability concerns and advanced social equity in these sectors. So, on to the winners. Do we have a drum roll? The Creative Cities Challenge winners are Bavart, an augmented reality startup from Paris, Clubtopia from Berlin, Interact by Handmade in Britain, and Exploring Cities through Audio AR. Now, Bavart will pilot its platform to connect residents to art and culture through gamification. Clubtopia will advise Berlin's nightclubs on how to be more sustainable. Interact by Handmade in Britain will pilot its interactive virtual platform for creative businesses to meet, chat, and sell their work. And Exploring Cities through Audio AR is a startup from New York that's going to pilot its augmented reality platform to inspire meaningful explorations of the world through immersive cinematic audio experiences. So now we are going to hear from the winners. I'd like to invite the winners to share their innovations. We have a few minutes each for you. So we'll start with Bavart from Paris. Over to you.
Hi, thank you very much. So yes, that's the first word. Thank you very much to all. We are really happy to have been selected. So I guess we are really tight on time. So thank you. I'm going to explain you what Bavart is. So Bavart is an augmented reality mobile game. No, you can, okay. An augmented reality mobile game designed for both the general public, for exploring art and culture, and for cultural institutions, for reaching a larger audience by promoting themselves using augmented reality. But first of all, who are we? Bavart is a collaboration between 2 companies, Art Studio in France and Sacre Bleu in US. I'm Chloé Guénou. I'm the CEO of Art Studio. I'm also a research engineer at Sorbonne University in Paris. He is Yannick Pazet. He's the CEO of Sacre Bleu, in charge of the distribution of Bavard in the Americas. So next slide, please. Bavard comes from a very simple ambition: break the barriers in the art and culture sectors and democratize them. With Bavard, any digital artwork can be spread anywhere in the world in just a seconds. We want to spread art everywhere and open it to everyone. Next slide, please. Bavards gather all augmented reality experiences in just one place. Used as a game from the player side, Bavard aims to be used as a promotional tools from the cultural institution point of view. Bavard allow them to get more engagement, to get a broader target audience, and more importantly, to forge new relationships with their visitors. Next slide, please. Bavard wants to become the new reference platform in augmented reality for art and culture. Thanks to the mapping of the augmented reality creations to be experienced nearby the player, Bavards allow users to move from one experience to another, like a Pokemon Go, but for arts. We also offer dynamic, high-quality content that varies according to exhibition, festivals, and content proposed by the various institutions. Each time an experience is watched by the players, they grab points exchangeable for cultural goods, such as museum tickets, entrance, goodies, or print. Next slide, please. Augmented reality have been proved to bring something new to existing collection and to attract wider audiences. However, developing an augmented reality application is really complex, costly, and time-consuming. Bavard will now prevent institutions from dealing with the technologies directly. Our platform is able to directly accept 2D and 3D content to create an augmented reality experiences in just a few clicks. So to summarize, Bavard is a meeting point for all cultural and artistic actors. We provide dynamic contents with AAA quality. We offer the services to create your own augmented reality experiences in just a few clicks. And finally, Bavard is a gamified and a social platform, ensuring to have a very regular application traffic. Next slide, please. But now the last but not the least, how we can work together. So Bavard is supposed to be released in January. So we are really entering into the experimentation phase. So everything is going to be free. So we have two ways to work together. The first is to freely publish your promotional offers directly in our shop, because if you remember, all the points grabbed by the players are exchangeable for cultural goods. The second option is to work together to create directly your own augmented reality experiences, whether you have content, existing content. So in this case, we can directly publish your experience. Or if you don't, we can also create directly on-demand content. Here you can see, for instance, the last 3D creation we just made last week from the illustration of a French artist called Jean-Michel Ouvry. So next slide, please. So thank you very much, and we are really happy to have been selected, and I hope we're gonna work together very soon. Thank you.
We're going to go to Berlin now. Thank you very much for that.
Oh yeah, hi, sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Apologies.
So also, first off, thank you so much for choosing Clubtopia as the winner in Berlin. We are of course very happy and honored. So what is Clubtopia? As it says here, it's about making nightlife more sustainable. So Clubtopia devotes itself to sustainability and climate issues within the Berlin club scene. And the goal is to support clubs in the process of becoming more sustainable. The project is a cooperation with the Clubliebe e.V., BUND Berlin e.V., and the Club Commission, and is funded by the Berlin Senate. Next slide, please. So the team consists of Constanze Meyer, all to the left, who is the founder and project manager of Clubtopia. Then we have me, Katrine Gregersen. I am the project coordinator of Clubtopia. Ina Friebe manages the communication and public relation work, and Matthias Krümmel works as an energy consultant in various projects and also in Clubtopia. Next slide, please. So why is sustainability in nightlife important? For the use of electricity alone, the CO2 emissions of a small club can be at least 30 tons CO2 a year. In addition, there are CO2 emissions from heating, ventilation technology, and of course from the mobility of the artists and guests. Moreover, clubs and venues generate quite a lot of waste. And clubs emit more than just CO2. They also emit sound, fine dust particles, heat, coldness, humidity, but importantly also lust, life, love, art, ecstasy, meaning that clubs are creative spaces that have the potential to come up with creative and innovative solutions to becoming more sustainable. Next slide, please. And not only can they become more sustainable themselves, they also have the potential to positively influence and inspire their guests and other cultural institutions. As depicted here, we understand culture as a key driver of sustainable change in society, and not only in Berlin, but also in cities like Paris, New York, and London. That's because clubs can show how attractive climate action can actually be. Next slide, please. So what do we actually do? So through our years of experience working together with clubs in Berlin, we have developed specific workshops and concepts which are also transferable to other cities. For instance, venues and clubs can get advice on energy efficiency and waste saving measures on site through our free energy consultations. We also have a general climate consultation guide, which is called the Green Club Guide. We also offer an online training series, Green Club Training, and have numerous workshops. Next slide, please. Moreover, we connect sustainability experts and clubgoers at our Future Party Lab, where they all work together on new and innovative solutions for sustainable nightlife in different workshops. The next one is actually on Saturday. And lastly, we have our roundtables for green club culture. Here we have developed a code of conduct for sustainable nightlife together with the club owners. We published it on the 1st of September, where also the first club, Schwutz, signed the code of conduct, as you can see on the image below. Next slide, please. So this code of conduct describes our shared vision for sustainable clubs and is basically a free sustainability concept for clubs with specific target agreements. It is highlighting different areas that should be addressed and provides the clubs with concrete examples of actions they can take to be more sustainable. Among the areas are, of course, environmental issues like energy, mobility, waste, and resources, but also social aspects. So far, we have 4 clubs in Berlin who have signed it, and we are in contact with several others who are interested. Next slide, please. So for that reason, the next steps for Clubtopia is, of course, to keep on promoting the code of conduct and getting more clubs involved, as well as helping the clubs who have already signed it with the implementations of the actions described in the code of conduct. And since climate change doesn't end on the city limits of Berlin, it's important for us to create a bigger network. This is also where the Creative City Challenge has been a huge help for Clubtopia. Through the challenge, we have gained contacts in especially London and Paris, and of course also in Berlin that work within the same field. This will help us in the further development of the project in the new year. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. This is Piyush. Hi, huge thank you to the Creative Cities Challenge team, all the city and industry partners for this wonderful opportunity. My name is Piyush, and I'm the founder and director of Handmade in Britain. Next slide, please. Handmade in Britain was set up in 2007 to support British craftspeople. Over the 14 years, we have supported and provided business growth opportunities to over 2,000 British craftspeople through craft fairs and festivals, pop-ups, and business mentoring schemes. This pandemic, as you know, that's created multidimensional challenges and risks, especially for the creative sector. So many creative businesses, including ourselves, lost 95% of the revenue since this pandemic because the cancellation of fairs, festivals, and all the retail closures. So we thought we had to do something. So we created this platform in response to COVID-19. We launched a virtual platform called Handmade Interact. And it was in a way to support the craftspeople, to provide them a platform where they can show their studios virtually and they could just connect with their audience and sell online. We have been developing this concept further every day, and this proposed solution is a result of working directly with the craftspeople and understanding the facing. And that will create new market opportunities. Next slide. I will now ask my colleague Saket to actually explain you a little bit more about our project, and then we have a 2-minute video to show that. Thank you. Saket, over to you.
Thanks, Piyush. So as Piyush explained, the Interact platform, with the Interact platform, we actually want to give the control back to the artist and to the creative community. And with the use of innovative technologies, we have created this platform, which is kind of easy to use, configurable, customizable platform where artists can create their own virtual studios. They can create their own shows. They can connect with the visitors, with the customers who are coming for the event or the studios in a new different ways. And that's what we are creating this platform for the customers and the visitors. There will be a new ways of engaging through the immersive new ways of engaging with the artist, and also at the same time they can interact and talk and chat and also buy while they are doing the interaction with the artist. And if you see the impact of this, it's kind of impact the complete craft sector, and from the artists to the customers, to the cities, to the environment. It has a positive impact all across the ecosystem, I would say, of the craft sector. What I will do now is quickly run the video. So if we go to the last slide, we have a video which talks about the platform and what are the features in it, and it will give you more details about it.
Hi everyone, I'm Hannah Wong, one of the co-founders of Gesso. We're a audio AR publishing platform for next-gen audio guides that help explore the world. Next slide, please. We're absolutely honored to take part in the challenge. We're thrilled to have been selected. It's an honor to be amongst the inspiring winners and finalists. On the top row are my co-founding team. And the common thread amongst us is that we're three third culture kids who have moved around a lot growing up and always wanted a shortcut to exploring a new place and diving deeper into the places that we lived. And so we started Gesso because we wanted to highlight the stories that are beneath the surface of cities, of the streets that we walk down. And we're a growing community of experts in the culture sector, in tech and audio production. Next slide, please. We started prototyping in 2018 and launched our museum product in 2019. At the time, the landscape for culture tech was quite fragmented at the time, and with very few funders like Bloomberg supporting cultural institutions and making their collections more accessible and inclusive. And we realized that only the largest institutions had access to these resources. And so we wanted to build a platform that helped institutions of all sizes leverage digital technology to engage with their audiences. Next slide, please. And the platform has evolved into this audio companion that layers audio on top of physical location. So our platform enables GPS triggered audio. So we've started developing self-guided audio tours. Think about it as a podcast that knows where you are, that plays stories based on your location. And then we have continued offering our white label official guide service throughout the pandemic. And as institutions have been shut down, we offered our existing partners and new partners free access to this technology. Next slide, please. We were gearing up to launch our audio AR platform in April 2020, and of course we were testing a very early build in Paris in early March, in the days leading up to the lockdown. And of course we thought to ourselves, what does it mean to build a travel company when maybe we won't be able to travel for a while? And we came back to New York and decided that we had three goals. One being highlighting the inspiring stories of places and objects that show us our humanity, and to really feature the underrepresented narratives. Number two, tackling over-tourism by encouraging deeper engagement and thereby boosting hyper-local economic development. We've found through research and our own user testing that the more time a listener dwells in a neighborhood, the more they'll transact with local businesses. And also it really takes people off the beaten path of the listicles of where to eat, sleep, shop. And we'd like to go a little deeper, and we found that our platform has the potential to do that. And number three is to empower citizens with new creative outlets and income streams. Next slide, please. So we launched our platform in April and started really wanting to highlight these inspiring stories of resilient New Yorkers who came before us. And as you can see, this is an icon, but many people didn't know that it was actually completed by a female engineer. And while we were developing this tour, the protests broke out for Cry for Justice. And as people were marching across the bridge, we captured audio and were able to look into the history of the bridge beyond its bricks and mortar and beyond the people who built the bridge, but really how the bridge symbolizes this connector between ideas and progress, and really bringing New Yorkers together for over 2 centuries. Next, please. We also had a chance to feature Yuki Ota, who's an artist and archivist who grew up in Soho since the 1960s, and her perspective of highlighting the artistic, the public art that's really hidden in plain sight in this now retail haven, but it used to be an artist hub. Next, please. And then one of the other examples that we made was really taking a sociological view at Williamsburg in Brooklyn. What does it mean to be a hipster? And really highlighting some of the resilient businesses that have not only held out, but thrived during the neighborhood's transformations. Next, please. And our founding vision was to really democratize storytelling, as I mentioned. And so we built, in addition to creating our own original content, in the background, we've been developing a creator authoring tool. So this is live at the moment. We launched it earlier this year. And this is for individual creators. This is a new way to sell and publish content without a single line of code. Over 100 creators have joined the platform since we launched, and experiences range from audio AR zines from Tokyo to the Amazons. And then we continue to work with cultural institutions to power their official guides. Next, please. And I'll quickly run through some of the examples that, that are from our creator community. So this is a magician and artist who created a series of self-guided installations in Chicago while we were at the height of lockdown, inspired by invisible forces like gravity and sound waves. Next, please. And then we also had a group of theater professionals leverage Gesso while the theaters have been closed to develop this kinetic opera that was geolocated and had location and song pairings coupled with a narrative of a deer that wandered into Harlem. Next, please. And then thirdly, we had a composer duo work with the New York Philharmonic and leverage Gesso to publish an audio AR sound walk through Central Park. And then next, please. And then lastly, we had a group called Homecoming New York come to us wanting to create an audio companion to a food crawl that they were organizing in Elmhurst in Queens, which was a neighborhood that was really hard hit during the pandemic. A lot of frontline workers reside in that neighborhood, and a lot of the restaurants were suffering as a result. So not only was the audio experience able to amplify the stories of these business owners, but also brought in over $5,000 in revenue, in added revenue in one day. And they were also able to use the funds that they raised to donate more than 1,000 meals to a local food pantry. Next, please. We've been honored to take part in this challenge. And so we couldn't have done this alone. Thank you very much to the partners and mentors. Next, please. We've made 12 connections so far and growing. This is mostly thanks to Ahmed at Greater London Authority. Thanks to our mentor too at UCL, Effie, and many others that I won't name individually on this call. Next, please. Our next steps are to build we're currently developing an e-commerce platform so that our creators can easily sell and handle payments through our platform and publish their content seamlessly. This is an invitation for partners and attendees on this call to nominate institutions or partners and creators in your city. We'd love to partner. Thank you very much in advance for that. And then lastly, we would love to establish a creator fund so that we can continue to highlight these diverse creator voices. To learn more, you can go to gesso.app. Thank you very much.
Well, congratulations. So Handmade in Britain, Clubtopia, Bavart, well done. Such impressive work. And I want to thank all of the participants and the contributors and of course the attendees today. The global pandemic has clearly changed the way we live and work and engage in cultural activities. Technology has clearly provided new and innovative ways of connecting people. And we've got a great panel of experts that will speak about different things they've learned in respective cities around the world. We have Michelle Bird, who is the Associate National Executive Director of the Producers Guild of America, Janine Koch, the CEO of MediaNet Berlin, Chris Perkins, General Manager, UK Public Sector, Microsoft, and Laurent Kiege, Entertainment Cluster Director, Paris & Co. Thank you all for being with us today. You know, as we adapt to this next new normal, as they're calling it, I think we want to look at creative strategies that are being used to diversify business models and cater to the needs of audiences of the future. Michelle, let's start with you and look at the process of filmmaking. You know, whether you're shooting on location on a stage or, you know, with all of the new safety protocols, or consuming the finished content online or in person, the process has clearly been altered. What are you seeing and hearing from your members at the Producers Guild that are working both pretty much in New York City and Los Angeles, but in cities across the country and around the world?
Thank you, Catherine. Thanks for the invitation also to join. So the Producers Guild is a trade association of 8,000 members. And we actually just did a census of our members about 2 months ago, asking them, sort of looking at the time period in terms of their productivity prior to the pandemic and kind of now. And what's interesting, surprisingly, is that many producers, one, production is booming, just truly booming, you know, whether it's in Los Angeles, whether it's in Atlanta, whether it's in New York, all
People want content.
People want content. There is an insatiable need for content. And so we were, of course, one of the first industries, creative industries, back at work and back at work safely, I might add. So I think there's been, just in terms of our members, people have felt very comfortable and confident in returning to work. And they've also been able to pivot. So one of the things that we started to notice through the census is just seeing that some of our members are actually busier now than they were prior to the pandemic, which is kind of interesting when you think about it, because there are now all of these new opportunities. There's new opportunities in terms of location of work. There's new opportunities in sort of post-production being remote, people pivoting into new sectors. So the booming kind of post-production business, people pivoting into effects,
animation, right?
All of this has sort of, so for those who've been able to be nimble and kind of pivot, they've really seen some new opportunities. And it's not just
probably some efficiencies as well. You know, the film industry is known for having a large footprint, and if they're shooting on streets of the city, and it's also created some new job opportunities because there've got to be safety protocols and folks managing that in place. And I think we're seeing that in a lot of different businesses. Janine, let's look at Berlin. What are some of the creative strategies that you're seeing there that are really diversifying business models? And clearly Clubtopia is addressing the sustainability issue, quite innovative and timely, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. So from my part, congratulations again. So I was really delighted that they are among the winners. And we actually had a couple of more participants who were into the sustainability topics, because apparently this is one of the most important topics of our days. So as we can see through the pandemics, everything that has been like in the back for a couple of years, for too many years, is just now coming up. And what we also see is like there's a lot of new innovation products in regards to hybrid events, virtual productions, virtual platforms. So the people had to, think about how can we reach the people from on their sofas. So they had to find ways of that. So in Berlin, for example, there's one thing that was really big called United We Stream, and I guess it was like almost everywhere in New York as well, and I think in London and Paris as well. So also from club commissions, that was one idea, to stream music online with really renowned DJs. And I guess that was one of the most effective ways to reach the target audiences who were locked down at home. So this is one of the things that's happening right now. But also we see a lot of stuff going on with AR, VR, the application. See a lot of guides coming up as like similar to the Bavard thing that we have just seen as one of the winners. So lots of those stuff. And as we can see, metaverse is coming up, and I reckon this is one of the parts that's going to rise.
Right. Well, necessity is the mother of invention, and I think we've been prompted to think of what we need and want in very, very different ways because of this global pandemic. Chris, in what way has globalization and digitization presented opportunities for arts and cultural organizations to identify new revenue streams? What are you seeing at Microsoft?
Indeed, no, thanks, Catherine. By the way, thanks for the invitation today. I mean, for Microsoft, this all began with a conversation with the London Mayor and Theo Blackwell, the Chief Digital Officer, back in January. And my colleagues from our London team and our global digital advisory team have been working with some of the finalists to help provide just some ideas and thought leadership, and in some cases, actually technology support and guidance service. And thanks for having us today. I do think in response to the question, I think if we try and look at maybe some of just the sort of the positives from the pandemics, I mean, certainly the digitization of experiences that were traditionally reserved for in-person formats, I think has certainly enabled arts and cultural organizations to think about how to sort of remodel the way they work, so that people can visit and participate without necessarily needing to be in the room. I mean, personally, last Christmas, my family was able to enjoy a production of a West End production of Scrooge, online during a lockdown, which otherwise we would just missed out on altogether. And so I think there is an opportunity now to sort of evolve and maybe like by streaming shows or creating immersive 3D experiences, arts and culture can really open the door to customers from all around the world, making it more accessible to people who may otherwise be unable to travel or be there in person. And Microsoft, we kind of call that sort of inclusive.
Sure.
Design.
Are there specific tools or systems that you think have been specifically impactful to business recovery? I
think that's it's no doubt that the pandemic's been hugely challenging for organizations, and they've had to adapt very quickly to serve customers and audiences, and that's true across the arts, across business and public sector. I think there's three things I would call out. This, in a broad sense, the sort of the shift to remote working, the need to operate remotely, has been a real stimulus for change. And in my day job in public sector, we helped the NHS, the National Health Service in the UK, to deploy a collaboration platform in 4 days to help 1.5 million staff to work. And I do think that as the sponsor for our disability employee group at Microsoft, that sort of remote engagement has been actually a real opportunity for participation for people that may otherwise, prior to the pandemic, found that more difficult. So I think, this idea of sort of, remote access and remote participation is one. The second thing is the use of data. Through the pandemic, we've helped organizations to really think about how they can create advantage with data. And certainly, again, in my day job, we supported organizations to do that. But you've seen some of the examples today, some of our winners, how they're using data and collaboration to really connect in a different way. And then finally, I just call out maybe the sort of the power of applications and how cloud technology means you can actually spin up new services very quickly. Again, in the pandemic, we helped local government, local authorities to create digital hubs to protect the most vulnerable. And similarly here, you're seeing the role of connected applications being able to create communities and participation. So yes, I think those are sort of fundamentals for how we think about innovation in arts and culture.
And Laurent, what are you seeing in Paris? What's worked well there in terms of identifying new revenue streams?
Thank you, Catherine. Hello, everyone. Thank you for inviting me. And again, congratulations to all winners. I think what we have seen today through these winners is that digitalization and technology has widened possibilities for artists to express their creativity in all fields. It also increased the audience, and it could help them reach new people, even in these times of pandemic and lockdown, to be able to reach other kinds of families, of people, of young people. And it also enables a cooperation with other kinds of artists. I mean, we were talking about creative and cultural industries, but now we can see that they are merging or they are converging with people coming from gaming, cinema, streaming, music. I think this is a main evolution, and we thought that it would be a good idea in Paris & Co. in Paris to do the same thing. So in my example, I was managing the tourism innovation hub of Paris & Co. before, and now we've created an entertainment cluster that gathers 5 innovation hubs, which include the creative and cultural industries hub, but also people coming from tourism, events, publishing, and also people from media and music. And so I think this is a good evolution that we must follow.
Now, Michelle, you mentioned that, the film industry was one of the first to go back and really be tested. Just reflecting on the last 18 months or so under your watch, what are some of the best lessons learned, and how do you think that as a result of reacting to this pandemic, the industry is going to be changed perhaps to the better going forward, and where there are more opportunities?
Well, certainly this issue of access and sort of opportunity for those, sort of leveling the playing field, I think has definitely kind of come to the fore. But it's very interesting because I think, for us, it seems like it's this closing the gap between the creators, the distributors / presenters, and the audiences, and that there have been new models. We've seen, major studios come out with day and date releases of titles that never would have happened previously. We've seen people thrive, some kind of product thrive in the theater. There's, economic implications for producers. I must add, not all producers are thrilled by some of these evolutions. But in terms of thinking about experimentation, there's certainly much more experimentation in terms of how people are working together, how they are getting their product out into the marketplace. And more people are interested in, I'd say, just sort of greater collaboration in general.
Right. And we just have a couple of minutes left, but Janine, over to you. Just some thoughts, lessons learned, and what you think are some important things to apply to future for growth.
So I guess Michelle already mentioned a couple of things. So what I saw in the market, especially in Germany, is that the people are more inclined to collaborate with each other. And I think this is one thing which is so necessary nowadays. It's about collaboration and not about the fact that the peoples are, working against each other. So the innovative factor is just has risen in the last couple of months. And I guess the tools are used more frequently. And I have the feeling that the anxiety just went away, and the people are more inclined to try out new stuff. And yeah, I guess everything else Michelle mentioned, I just can underline that.
Well, I think, that's what we find in our work. It's the collaboration, the communication, and, cities around the world, we've all experienced this, and people want to learn from each other. So we're thrilled that we can hear some insights from all of you from different walks of life and industries and in different parts of the world. So thank you so much. Time just goes by way too quickly. We could be talking for hours about this, but we appreciate your time and your creative thoughts. It is now with great pleasure that I introduce our next speaker, our final speaker, Faye Penn, Executive Director of Women.NYC. Women.NYC is part of New York City's Economic Development Corporation. It was created to ensure that New York City remains the best place for women to thrive in their careers. So without further ado, over to Faye Penn. Faye, welcome.
Thank you, Catherine. And it was really great to see so many women-led companies in this competition and among the winners. Thank you to you and the rest of the Global Innovation Collaborative team for pulling together such an inspiring morning. Congratulations to our 4 winners and to everybody who participated in the challenge. My name is Faye Penn, and I lead industry initiatives at Women.NYC at the New York City Economic Development Corporation. EDC is the economic development arm of New York City government with a mission to foster equitable economic growth across our 5 boroughs. An important part of that is creating good jobs and supporting entrepreneurship, not just in emerging industries like cybersecurity and life sciences, but also in our legacy industries, including, of course, our robust creative sector. As we know, New York is one of the creative capitals of the world, alongside our partners Paris, London, and Berlin. And here, the creative economy employs nearly 300,000 people across media, fashion, the arts, film, television, and more. And nightlife has long been a vital part of the city's culture, economy, and really its identity. Our creative industries have had some rough times during the pandemic. And although we're getting back on track and Broadway's open, we need innovative ideas to help the economy recover stronger than ever. And that's what the 4 winners today are doing. And we look forward to engaging with them to help scale their innovations. If you want to learn more about them, or you have ideas or resources to help them grow, please get in touch at info@citiesinnovation.global. And if you wanted to rewatch this event, it will be available on demand at citiesinnovation.global. And finally, I'd like to thank all of the innovators who submitted their ideas to the challenge. As a judge, I was one of the evaluators, and it was really energizing to see so many thoughtful ideas to help artists and cities alike. And a special thanks to my fellow judges for helping select such an impressive, diverse cohort. Thanks to Bloomberg Associates and to all of our incredible Global Innovation Collaborative partners for their time and support. And thank you to all of you for joining us at this fantastic event. Merci, danke, and thank you. And that is a wrap.